Hello students, welcome to the e-learning session initiated by LJ Institute of Pharmacy. Myself Darshil Shah, working as an assistant professor with Department of Quality Assurance at LJ Institute of Pharmacy. Today we are going to discuss about the quenching of fluorescence along with the instrumentation of fluorescence. This is the third session for fluorescence spectroscopy. In an earlier presentation, we have seen the principle of fluorescence spectroscopy along with the factors affecting fluorescence spectroscopy. So, in third session, we are going to discuss about the quenching of fluorescence and what are the different types of quenching. It is very important question for your exam point of view. Now, what is quenching? Quenching refers to any process or any substance that reduces the fluorescence intensity, that is called as a quenching. There are number of factors which can cause the quenching like pH, viscosity, heavy metals, oxygen. You can clearly see in a figure that one solution of quinine is prepared in a HCl and another one is prepared in the H2SO4. As chloride ions works as a quenching agents for quinine. So, you can see a different color shades of quinine in the solution. These are the few example of quenching agents. Thiocyanate works as a quenching agent for anthracene, chloride works as a quenching agent for quinine, iodide works as a quenching agent for tryptophan, nitric oxide works as a for naphthalene. Now, if we go further, quenching can be divided into 4 types. First is collisional quenching, second one is static quenching, third one is concentration quenching and fourth one is chemical quenching. If we see one by one, first we will see a collisional quenching. Collisional quenching occurs by a interaction of quencher molecule with an excited molecule of fluorescent substance. In a simple words, we can say that the quenching agent collide with the fluorescent substance and takes its energy and excite itself. If we irradiate a fluorescence molecule with a light, the fluorescence molecule will get into the excited state. During that excited state, if any quenching agent collide with that colloidal molecule quench the entire intensity and fluorescent substance comes again into the ground state. Again the quenching agent will not release its energy in the form of light. So, we can see a decrease in the fluorescence intensity. Generally, common example for the collisional quenching is chloride and iodide ion for the quinine sulphate that we have seen in the first figure. Second one is the example of a static quenching. Static quenching occurs at the ground state of a fluorescing molecule. It can be simplified by a simple mechanism. The quenching molecule makes a complex with a fluorescent substance, and when this complex molecule is irradiated with a UV or visible radiation, that quenching molecule will absorb all the radiation. So, the quenching molecule will goes from the ground state to the excited state and it comes again back to the ground state by releasing the energy in the form of heat. So, rather than the intensity or light intensity absorbed by a fluorescence molecule, quenching agent absorbs the light intensity. Certain example of this class is xanthine and purine that reduces the intensity of riboflavin by static mechanism. Quenching occurs due to the oxygen also follows this mechanism. Third and very important phenomena is a concentration quenching. Concentration quenching is also called as a self quenching. It occurs when the concentration of fluorescence molecule increases in a sample solution. Generally, it is observed that higher than 50 microgram per ml solution decreases the fluorescence intensity. This is due to the self quenching. Here as the concentration increases, generally fluorescence intensity increases, but after a certain concentration you can see a reduce into the fluorescence intensity, because molecule starts to collide with each other and releases its energy in the form of heat. That is why the generally dilute solutions should be used for a measurement of fluorescence intensity. Last one is chemical quenching. Chemical quenching is due to the various factors like change in pH, presence of oxygen, halides, electron withdrawing groups. These are the all such factors we have already discussed in the factors affecting fluorescence intensity. Now, if we see an example of change in pH, aniline gives a fluorescence in the pH range of 5 to 13. Less than pH 5 and greater than pH 13, it does not show any fluorescence. In the range of pH 5 to 13, it forms the anilinium ion, which gives the fluorescence. Generally, we have seen that the electron withdrawing group withdraws the electron. Generally, it withdraws the pi electrons. If the pi electrons are withdrawn, the molecule will not go from the ground state to the excited state, and that is why the fluorescence intensity decreases. Heavy metals also lead to a quenching because of collision and a complex formation. In a conclusion, in a usual case, quenching is an undesirable effect, and the possibility of encountering this type of interference should always be evaluated in developing fluorescence assay. However, this phenomena is used for determining the concentration of compound known as to quench the fluorescence. Next is spectrophlorometer, that is again we can say the instrumentation of fluorimetry. Generally, these are the common parts of the spectrophlorimeter. First is source, then a monochromator, then a sample cell, then a again emission monochromator, then detector. This is the figures given in a book. The light source generally used is again a xenon arc lamp or a mercury vapor lamp or hydrogen discharge lamp. The primary monochromator can be a grating or prism can be used. Sample cuvettes, again a excitation monochromator. In this case, you needed two monochromators, because the sample molecules also emits the light. So, to again convert that light in a monochromatic light, you need a monochromator. And last is photomultiplier tubes or a detector. The important thing is that the detector is arranged on the 90-degree angle in the case of fluorescence spectroscopy. If you see with the other spectroscopy, detectors are arranged generally at the 180-degree angle. As we have seen that light source can be used as a xenon arc lamp or mercury vapor lamp. A high pressure xenon arc lamp is used as a spectrophotometer, which provides intense, stable and continuous beam in UV and visible region. The primary monochromator converts the polychromatic light to a monochromatic light, which is emitted by a light source, while the secondary monochromator isolates the wavelength of a emitted fluorescence. Cuvettes generally used are a quartz cuvettes are used. Detector used in this case are the photomultiplier tubes can be used, and generally galvanometer or ammeters are arranged for a readout device. Now, there are different applications of spectrophlorimeter like for the chemical modifications such as oxidation, reduction, hydrolysis, coupling. If compound is oxidized or reduced, that can be identified with the help of fluorimetry technique. If compound is oxidized or reduced, the fluorescence intensity either may be decreased or increased as per the group attached to the fluorescent molecule. The determination and comparison of both excitation and fluorescence spectra of compound may help to identification part. The fluorescence spectroscopy can be used as a identification part. The assay of vitamin in food, NADH in mitochondria. NADH shows the static coupling, and the certain hormones like cortisol, estradiol, cholesterol concentration in a blood and plasma. It is used in an enzyme assay and kinetic analysis. It is used to study the protein structure. Determination of inorganic substances, determination of plant pigments, steroids, proteins, naphthols. It is used in a nuclear research for determination of uranium salts, determination of vitamin B1, determination of riboflavin. Generally, it is used for quantification of vitamins in a food sample like meat, cereals. Most important application is it is used as a quantification in pharmaceuticals for clinical samples and the natural products. Generally other application is fluorescence indicators are also used for a titrimetric part. Fluorescence indicators shows a different color at different pH. Generally eosine shows the colorless to green color into pH range of 3 to 4. Advantages of fluorescence spectroscopy is fluorimetric technique have a high degree of specificity and it gives a highly precise result. Fluorescence spectroscopy gives a more precise results than UV spectroscopy, or we can say as with the other spectroscopic results. This test results is also highly sensitive. The disadvantages associated with fluorescence spectroscopy is that it is related to environmental factors. In a certain condition we cannot control the environmental factors like oxygen. So, oxygen may reduce the fluorescence intensity. Other major problem is quenching, whereby the energy transferred to the other molecules, that is due to a contamination present in a sample solution. For measuring the fluorescence intensity you need a pure solutions, or we can say as the clear solutions. I hope I have cleared all the points in a fluorescence spectroscopy. Thank you for listening this. For more such videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel Pharma Ignite.